Hey everyone, it's the Tides Changing here, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on what the constrained floor elevation falls cheat is, and also how to do split leveling, which is probably the most basic concept of what you can do with this cheat, and also it's the foundation for a lot of the other things that you can do with the constrained floor elevation falls cheat. So now I'm just going to talk about what exactly this cheat is. So right now I have the cheat off, and if I try to move the ground underneath of this little building I've set up, it doesn't do anything. It just keeps it flat where the walls are. It just doesn't move the walls at all. But if I turn the cheat on, so if I do Shift Control C and you hold them all down at the same time, and I type in constrain floor elevation false, and now I try to move the ground, it actually will move the walls up, so then you get things kind of looking messed up. And I should probably get rid of the roofs. I don't know why it's always on by default, but pretty much what it does is it unconstrains the height of the wall. But you do want to be careful with leaving it on, because say I left it on by accident and I said, oh, I want to delete foundation, it'll snap the foundation up to that height, and if you have a bunch of levels up above it and you have furniture in your house, it could potentially mess things up a bit. So before you do anything like that, like removing foundation, you probably just want to turn the cheat off and do that. You hold down Shift Control C again and type in constrain floor elevation, and instead of false you do true. Oops. And now it's back to normal, where I can't move the ground underneath of any of this. So I'm actually just going to undo all of that messing with the ground that I did and get things back to normal. Alright, so now everything's back to normal, except I still have that roof on there. So now I'm going to show you guys how to split level. So let me just turn the constrained floor elevation sheet back on. Alright, so if you wanna split level on the first floor, where you want to have it foundation height, like let's say you want a sunken in living room, you first want to put the wall first. So here's where it separates the lower height from the upper height. So you want to have the wall ahead of time, because if you put it in afterwards it can mess up things. It's not really a big deal when doing this, but when you do more complicated things it can mess it up a bit. So all I did was I just held over the foundation and using the level terrain tool, and I just dragged it over there. And as you can see, now you have the wall here is the same height as the foundation. So let's say I want this to be the upper area. Put floor there, and now I can just put floor here. Okay, so that's another thing that can happen, so I'm just gonna do it that way. And then if you want to be able to get down to there, you just place some stairs like this, and then your Sims can walk between the two levels. And let's say you want to have a door down in here, you want to be able to walk out of this lower level, or you want this to be the entrance level. What you can do is you can just get rid of the wall and then just drag the wall across there, and then now you have normal height. And then you take the level terrain tool and you just drag it over that, and you can place a door in that area right there. So I can just take this door and put it here. So now you have a door off of that lower area, and right now this doesn't look very good, but I do this in some of my houses, so you could check some of those out if you want to see how it looks when it's actually done. And if I put walls over it, you can't really tell that there's any split leveling going on, so it hides it. But let's say that you want to have split leveling up on an upper floor. It's not quite as easy to have it on above the first floor as it is on the ground level. So if I want to lower this level up here, then what I want to do is, you put in a normal wall there, and then if you want, you can also put in the upper floor above it here. So if I want to get this down, if I want to get this level right here down to foundation height, what I have to do here is, with the constrained floor elevation cheat on, I just put 3 stairs. So sometimes you have to get the sledgehammer and hold it over it to get it to actually show that you lower the level. and you do that 3 times to get it down to that 1/4 wall height. So now that I have that little tile right there that is the 1/4 height, I just take the level terrain tool, put it in there, and then I just drag it all over this level. And as you can see, now you have a 1/4 height wall right there. And why you have to do 3 of those staircases, because each wall, like each full wall, is 16 steps high. So you want to get 1/4 of that, which is 4 steps high. And by default, if you don't hold down the Alt key, which is something I'll get into later, and then you hold the staircase over this, it by default places 4 steps, as you can see. So you want to lower it by 3/4, which 3 times 4 is 12, which is 12 steps. So that's why you put 3 staircases in. And that's always something good to know, how many steps each full floor is. And you may be wondering, why do I want to have split leveling on an upper floor? And the reason for that is you could just do interesting things with it. So I didn't put the wall in before, but here, let's see, you want to have a slightly lower level. So this is what happens if you don't put the walls in before you lower it. It's pretty easy to fix at this point. You just drag it over again. And let me delete the floor everywhere but that. So you can do some cool stuff, like you could have stairs go up here. And like I said, this really isn't the best looking building, but you can get creative with it. So I could have this lower level here for a little bit, the sunken in level. And then I could just have stairs here going up to a higher level. And another interesting thing you could do is you can also potentially have rooms off this lower level here, which can just add a really interesting effect. So let's say, you know, I want to have a little bathroom in here. And, okay, so I have to lower that. So you just lower that down to that height there, and then put another wall above it. But then, you know, you'd want a door off this level, so you do the same thing that you did on the first floor, where you just remove the wall and then put it back in, and then it makes it normal height, and then you go up here, and you flatten that. Ooh, whoops. And then I can now put in a door here. So once again, this really isn't my best work at all, but I'm just trying to give you an idea for what you can do with this. So you can just have neat things like that, and then this room will also, if you'd have to have the ceiling go all the way up to the full height. So this room would also have a little bit of higher ceiling, which is kind of nice. So you can just do really cool things like that, and you can be creative with it. So there is a lot that you could do with the constrained floor elevation cheat. So I hope this was a good tutorial on the basics of what you can do with it. And I know a lot of people have been wondering how to do split levels, so hopefully this helped with that. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't. Thanks for watching, and bye!